Hello, hello, hello. This is Rick Napier, the president at 321 Biz Development, located both in California and Georgia. And this is part one of two parts. And this recording or this training session will just be one part, and I will finish the second part tomorrow. So, the title of this session is called Steps to Preparing Yourself to Successfully Sell Anything. And the reason why I'm doing this is because it's now December 2nd, 2024, and there are many people that are looking and waiting and hoping to improve their businesses. There are also some people who are looking to start their businesses. I think the recent election has inspired people to try to do better in 2025. That's not a political statement, that's an economic statement. So what we want to do at 321 Biz Development is at least give people a starting point of how to successfully sell. And we understand that there are many different levels that people may have in terms of sales experience. So we just want to focus on the fundamental steps to successfully sell. And you might find it surprisingly that it's not about the product or service. Selling in terms of professional selling has never been about a product or service. And that's mostly because consumers or your prospects can easily figure out if a salesperson's motivation is to push a product. I mean, I didn't understand that until about 2010, 2011, when I had my first sales disaster in California. And that pretty much was, I knew the product totally. I knew my product like up and down, left and right. I knew everything about it. So I took my product experience and met with several prospects. I'm mainly talking about long-term care insurance, and met with several prospects. And the first prospect was a widow, and this person was perfectly suitable for the product. But because I did not focus on the prospect, I focused 100% on the product, I did not get the sale. The second prospect that I worked with, I focused totally on the product, but because the prospect had a previous experience with long-term care, in other words, the prospect had brothers and sisters who were paying for the parents' long-term care bill, cash out of pocket, for about $8,000 a month. This particular prospect, again, had a previous experience or had a current experience with long-term care. So that was an easy sell. The point I'm trying to make is that product knowledge has very little to do with successful selling. And so what I would like to do right now is just go through 4 steps that fundamentally will prepare anyone to sell whatever product or service. And this particular session is for business owners or salespeople who are selling big ticket items that start at like $1,000 or higher, or the commission is $1,000 or higher. So the first step is do not focus on yourself. Your prospect, either on the phone or in person, can detect when the sales is more about you closing the prospect than the prospect benefiting from the product or service. And this is a tough one because, traditionally, salespeople love to focus on themselves. And if there is never any training about not focusing on themselves, this is where salespeople are. They are focusing on themselves. They're thinking, am I dressed correctly? Does my hair look great? Is my speech appropriate? You know, do I know my product or service very well? That's what prospects can detect. They can detect when a salesperson is not paying any attention to them, but focusing totally on themselves. The second step is do not focus on how much you will make in revenue or commission. This happens when salespeople jump on the first instance to product pitch before asking enough questions such that the prospects begin to close themselves. I'll never forget, I was training this guy. This is in California, and I had like a series of questions that, and we were role playing. So I was asking this guy some questions, and then I asked this guy purposely a question to see if he would pull out his brochure and begin selling the product. And sure enough, I tricked him, and he went straight for the brochure to pull it out to tell me all about this amazing product. And as soon as he did it, he realized that now he was focusing on himself and focusing on the commission instead of continuing to ask more questions. The third step is ask enough probing questions. For example, questions to get prospects to discuss their current situations or challenges. Now, I studied this subject intensely back in 2010, 2011, 2012, and it took me about 18 months to write the 321 sales system program. And my research showed that the public was more engaged and likely to buy when the salesperson, spent 70% of their time asking questions of the prospects. So some people may say, well, 70% isn't that's a C. That's a C average. So it's not 70% of the total contacts, it's 70% of the people that you're talking to, that you're meeting with in public. And 70% is a high number. So it's 70% of people that you're meeting with and you're selling a big ticket product. The sales psychologists were basically saying that when you ask enough questions, you'll get 70% of the people at least interested in moving forward. That's not 70% of the people you will close, but it will set the tone that 70% of the people are willing to move forward to the next step. And that next step may be if the product is a match and if the price is right. So it's very, very important to ask enough probing questions. And these questions are to get prospects to discuss their current situations or challenges. And furthermore, when you ask these probing questions, you might have maybe 6 questions that you ask that are probing questions. And these questions are not closed-ended questions. These questions are basically questions that begin with what, why, how, where, and those kind of questions. Instead of the questions where the prospect can answer yes or no. So even if you have 6 questions that you want to ask that are probing questions, those questions may lead to other questions where the prospect gets to explain their situation even in more detail. And behavioral scientists, psychologists also say that when a person is answering those questions, their ears are hearing the answer. So it's like 2 ears are hearing what the mouth is explaining. And to make a long story short, without getting into the actual training, when a prospect is answering questions in the affirmative, explaining their current situation, that leads to perhaps why the product may be a good fit or suitable to the prospect, the brain says, okay, I'm tired of not having this product. I'm tired of having the situation that I've been enduring for the last couple of months or couple of years, and that prospect is more likely to buy. Now, the fourth step to preparing yourself to successfully sell anything is quickly move away from using memorized scripts by internalizing your communications you have with prospects. And in this context, internalizing means putting yourself in the prospect's position. In other words, would you buy from you? And that is a great examination of your sales, sort of, the way you sell to people and your system. Will you buy from you? And I always like to remind people is, to tape yourself, record yourself, going through a prospect interview. In other words, do a prospect interview with a friend or do one by yourself and just listen to how you sound when you ask these questions. Because when you listen to how you sound, it may reveal something very amazing or startling, depending on how you sound when you listen to yourself. Because when you are able to put yourself in the prospect's position or put yourself in the prospect's shoes, you tend to not focus on what you want out of the sale and the things that you memorize from the product, because you get to listen to what the prospect needs and what the prospect wants. So I just wanted to do this short episode, which is part one of two parts, and how to prepare yourself to successfully sell anything. My name is Rick Napier, the president at 321 Biz Development. Our website is 321bizdev.com. And if you need to reach me, my email address is rick@321bizdev.com. Take care and make it a great day.